Hi, I'm Cindy. Welcome to Positive Preschool Tips. Today's video, I want to share with you some of my favorite hacks on teaching young children how to use scissors. I have some activities and some other ideas on what you can do to present the scissors and the activities that are going to help a little one move on and learn how to use these tricky little scissors. So let's get started. My first hack is to give the children a verbal prompt. Once they get the scissors on their hands, I often see children turning their hand upside down like this to start cutting. What I found really helpful is to move their hand in the correct position and then give them a verbal prompt. And the prompt I give them is, this is a thumbs up activity. To remind them when they cut, their thumb always needs to be up. And so when they do it appropriately, I always reinforce it with a big thumbs up and to let them realize that yes, when I'm cutting, it's a thumbs up activity. My thumb is always on top. And then if you see them twisting their hands in an awkward fashion, you can remind them, oh, thumbs up, and that'll help them to readjust the scissors and have them in the appropriate position to cut their paper. Also, when you first start out with anything on paper, use construction paper or something that's a little stiffer. If you use regular loose leaf, it's too flimsy, it's hard for the child to hold on to, and it folds over and their hand flips over. So whenever you're starting to teach cutting, use something a little firmer, like construction paper. My second hack for teaching children how to use scissors appropriately is to start out by using something other than paper for the children to cut. A great idea is PlayDoh. What I like about PlayDoh is that it's soft, so it's easy to cut through, but at the same time, it's not as flimsy as the paper. So when the children hold it, it's not flopping all over the place like the paper does. So they're able to cut it with little snips and to actually produce pieces of Play-Doh. It's fun to have the children roll the Play-Doh out like it's a cookie dough, and then they can snip at it and make individual cookies. It's fun, but this is a really good way. It sort of teaches them the open-shut method that you need when you use scissors without trying to handle and negotiate a flappy piece of paper and to work their way all the way up the paper. It's just teaching them snipping, and that's really your first step in learning how to use scissors appropriately. So that's hack 2. Hack number 3 is to get a hole punch, and whatever the child is cutting out, you're going to put holes spread apart around the lines of what you want the child to cut out. And again, it allows them to have more of a snipping motion than actually trying to negotiate the paper and the scissors. Hack number 4. I love this idea. What you're going to do is make sure that you're using the scissors with the hole where your thumb is on the top. And you're going to take a little toy. Here I have a little turtle. Hopefully I'll get this a little bit closer for you to see. But it could be a little car. It could be a little ladybug, anything that you have that's really small. And you're going to glue it. The best way I have found is to glue it with some super glue. Like a regular little Elmer's glue is not going to work. So then you have this little toy at the tip of the scissors. When children are cutting, a lot of times they're paying attention to their hand, they're looking at the paper, they're looking at everything but besides the line that they're supposed to follow. And with this little toy right at the very tip, it makes them focus on the little toy, which then keeps their eye on the toy and on the line. I think it's a great little idea. And so if you try it and it works out well, I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know how it went. Tip number 4 is to take some, again, construction paper, and you're going to make a line from top to bottom and put some sandpaper on either side. And what that does is gives the children a little bit of an edge and a guide for them to go straight up the paper. And that is really, we're just at this point trying to get them now from the bottom of the paper to the top of the paper. So that will give them a little runway and keep them on the line, because if they run into that sandpaper, they're not going to be able to cut that. So it'll take them back on the line. That's a great idea. So this next hack is a really fun little thing to do. You can take a piece of candy or a little toy, and you're going to put it in a brown paper bag. And then you're going to carefully fold down the bag. I have to fold it pretty tight because I have just a little tiny stapler from the dollar store. But you're going to fold down the bag. And what we're going to do is you are going to staple, make a line with the staple, and then a line that the child will cut. Come up a little bit further, another line of staples, and another line that the child has to cut, and so on, as many as you want to put in. That way, what the child does is they cut on the line, and they get rid of that obstacle to get to the candy or the toy. So, oops, another set of staples, so you have to cut down the next line and keep working your way down until you get that prize that's at the bottom of the bag. What I like about this is kind of fun, and it also is motivating for the child. They're not just cutting to snip paper. They're not just cutting because you're asking them to do it. They have a real purpose. They want to get to the bottom of this bag. Now you can show them what you put in there if you want, or you can make it a treasure hunt and say there's something really fun in that bag, and if you cut it, you will get that prize. So that's another fun little hack that I think is a cute thing to do with children. The last hack I have is another way to help the children hold the scissors properly without twisting when they cut. And what you're going to do here is you're going to tape it to the edge of the table or the edge of a chair and let it hang down. And then the children are going to cut from the bottom. Now, when you're sitting on the floor cutting in front of you, it's very hard to twist your hand this way. You have to go from the bottom to the top. It sort of forces the children to go in that right direction with using that thumbs up activity. So that's a fun way just to practice cutting. It also makes it a little bit different. It's, you know, just not ho-hum sitting at a table, just cutting something out. You're actually sitting on the floor and cutting from the bottom to the top. You know, you change it up a little bit and the children love it. So that's a really fun little hack too. The other thing that I could tell you about cutting skills, it is just practice, 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 practice. And so presenting it in lots of different ways and giving them lots of different activities and lots of different things to cut is always a good way to get them interested in cutting. Golly, I just had a thought. This wasn't part of my original thought for this video, but I just had a thought of a fun activity we did. So I did in a classroom, so I'm going to throw it in. We planted grass, so we just got a styrofoam cup and we put dirt in it, and we painted a face, or I guess used markers or whatever, made a face on the front of the cup, and we planted grass seed, and as the grass grew up, we used scissors to give the grass a haircut. That was really fun too, because if you keep watering it, the grass keeps shooting up, and so every morning the kids would come in and determine whether their grass needed a haircut. So that was one that just came to mind just as I was making the video, but it's fun too. So I hope you have good luck with all that. Please, I would love it if you comment, like, or subscribe. You can hit the little bell, and that way you'll get notifications if I load a new video. So I would love to keep you on top of everything that I have to offer. And I thank you for tuning in. Thanks for stopping in. I hope to see you next time.